Welcome to Knockhill Racing Circuit for the third round of the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup, and on pole position is one of our regular men at the front, the guy who came so close to winning this championship last year, literally one race away from winning it before all went wrong. Of course, it's Ian Munro in number 23, and if he undoes his net for me, which would be handy. Ian, every time I introduce you, I have to go back to last year and what a disastrous end to a great season when you lost the championship with one race to go. Let's put that behind us though. Pole position, it's a good start.
It's a good start, yeah. Well, see how it goes this time, because I've not had the best start to the year. Bit up and down, but car's been going well. I've just been doing stupid stuff every now and again.
I'm glad you said that. But weather-wise, it's been beautiful sunshine all weekend, but we keep getting these crazy crazy rainstorms coming. Looks like there's one brewing.
It looks like it. I'd rather just get out there and then we'd have to worry about changing anything.
But a man of your experience is going to handle that properly.
Well, I hope so.
Good luck. Good luck.
Cheers.
Right, let's keep going. Morgan Murray, again. Morgan Murray came even closer to winning the championship last year. Morgan, last year was almost your year. You've set out to try to do it this year, but it's been kind of going well, but then some disastrous race threes. I don't think we've finished a race three yet, have we?
No, I don't think we have. I mean, it's just bad luck, is it? Hopefully Vispa King brings us more luck and we get some more podiums.
Consistency at this stage of the season, second place on the grid, front row again. Good consistent result is possible.
Yeah, I mean, we keep getting podiums, which is a good thing. Front in the qualifying, which is good. So yeah, here's hoping I can just get to the podium in the last.
What's your thought on the rain shower that's lurking over your back?
I'm not worried about it. Dry, wet, anything, give me it.
Good stuff. A wet setting in these cars is basically just turn the wipers on and you don't really change much with them, to be honest. Kyle Reid again was here last time. He misses a lot of the races because of his offshore schedule. I'll not mess with that. Kyle, just making this one. You're away offshore on Monday, but you're here in time for this. Won 2 races out of the 3 last time. Second row of the grid. What's the plan?
Good afternoon, Joe. First of all, I'll be going for the win. That's about it.
Simple as that. What about the rain?
The car's set up for the dry, but if it rains, it rains. We've been driven around here enough, so I'll just go with how it goes.
Make it exciting, you normally do.
Oh yeah, will do. Thank you.
Good luck, and with that I'll hand it to Richard. Minis race number 1, head now on track.
Thanks very much, Joe. Ian Munro starting on pole position with Morgan Murray alongside the second row. Kyle Reid and Mark Geraghty. Then it's Robbie Dalgleish and Hannah Chapman. Dominic Wheatley with John Duncan on row 4. Neil Robertson and Dylan O'Donnell completing the top 10 from qualifying. 11th on the grid is Michael Weddell from Michael Courts. Then it's Chris Blackhall and Callum Dryborough. Johnny Dreelan and Simon Holderness on row 8. Craig Blake with Taylor Shand and Ross Wilkinson in car number 21 completing the grid. Here is the front view. We're not really sure on the weather conditions. There's the view from the rear of the field. Ross Wilkinson you can see in 21. Just to his right, the 95 car of Craig Blake, who lines up 17th on the grid. We can't see Taylor Shand. She's behind the ambulance there, which is obviously there for safety's sake at the start. Part of the starting procedure, as is the countdown of lights, which is happening now. Lighting sequence complete, lights out, away we go, and it's the white car with the salt tyre, number 11, Morgan Murray, who makes a very good start indeed. But Ian Munro from pole in yellow is looking quick through the gears. They're side by side. No, they're not, because going into the lead is Morgan Murray down into Duffus. Murray leads, and look at that, Mark Geraghty in 67 from 4th on the grid. Both of the 2 outside starters of the front 2 rows have made progress. The red car in 5th place is Robbie Dalgleish. He's held sway. Hannah Chapman was on the outside of row 3. They've all made a great start. There is Simon Holderness, the man from Wakefield. 2 top 10 finishes for Simon at our April meeting. Good to see him back on track. But the race leader is Morgan Murray, 4th in the championship. Morgan Murray might sound a little way down, but he's on 76 points. Dylan O'Donnell on 84, so it's possible. The tightness of the standings here, the tightness of the racing. Look at this on the outside line, Michael Weddell, and trying to squeeze through is Dylan O'Donnell, the championship leader, the black and yellow car. Second in the championship is the dark grey number 4, which is Dominic Wheatley, the man from Hartlepool, who looks up the inside line. And Wheatley here is 2 points down on O'Donnell in the championship, so if he manages to get a finish here, maybe 1 or 2 places ahead of Dylan O'Donnell, he might be able to nick the championship lead. But realistically, with the points on offer, if it stays like this, Morgan Murray will take the championship lead from this race. O'Donnell, look at that, O'Donnell and Wheatley, side by side. Wheatley in the grey car with the red stripe down it. Oh, a little bit of a clout there on Callum Dryborough, local man Callum, and Dylan O'Donnell muscled down, off onto the gravel goes Neil Robertson. But look at the recovery from Robertson. He rejoins safely right the way at the back of the field. He's got Craig Blake now as his first target to chase, but Robertson, okay, had the moment but came back on, kept his foot in, knows what to do in that situation. Munro looking a little bit racy now. Pole position time was secured by just 0.03 of a second, Munro to Murray. So Munro will have that in his head that he's quicker on the best lap today than Morgan Murray, but Murray got the best of the starts as we go on board with Hannah Chapman. Hannah 9th in the championship and immediately ahead Robbie Dalgleish. So these two having formed row 3 of the original grid. Dalgleish dab of the brake lights, wonderful footage here from Hannah Chapman in the Ram Tubular's car, and I thought Hannah was about to have a look there as we went into Scotsman Corner. The onboards really give you the feel of the undulations of this Knockhill circuit. A terrific place to come and watch, even better place to come and race. And some argy-bargy there at the back of the field and getting physicalised there was Ross Wilkinson in 21. Neil Robertson, of course, recovering in car number 10 with Craig Blake immediately ahead of them, but back to the lead trio. Kyle Reid's further back than I would have expected him to be, and it is still Morgan Murray out front. So Murray the race leader, then the 23 car of Ian Munro, the man from Galashiels, then Mark Geraghty, who comes from Perth. Kyle Reid is next, then a gap back. Hannah Chapman still chasing the 91 car of Robbie Dalgleish up the hill as well. Pitboards goes out, no prizes for guessing which one's Hannah's. And here comes Ian Munro having a look down the inside. He's got to be mindful of Mark Geraghty right behind him as they go down into Duffus Dip, now through Leslie's. Well, cracking way to open our 3 race weekend, but Geraghty goes wide. That's going to lose him some speed, and Kyle Reid will try and zone in on him now and get back onto a potential podium. Kyle Reid with 2 firsts and a 2nd place at our May meeting. They're all chasing hard, and you can see John Duncan trying to latch himself onto Hannah Chapman's rear at the moment, and he is really putting pressure on Hannah. Hannah's lost a tad of ground between herself and Robbie Dalgleish. Battle for the lead still on. Directors don't really know where to look because there's battling everywhere. Ultimately, of course, it comes back to who wins the race, and it's Morgan Murray still there. Geraghty's getting back into it after that wild moment. Munro's going to be under pressure again, and Munro, therefore, as well as looking ahead, is going to have to look in his mirrors and see what Mark Geraghty is up to behind him. Kyle Reid in 20. Looks like he might be closing in on Mark Geraghty. It might be as a result of that little moment. This camera actually shows things a little bit further back maybe for Kyle Reid. It's definitely a lead trio at the moment coming down Duffus and again into Leslie's. It is pressure for Morgan Murray going into Scotsman Corner. A little bit defensive, not overly so he's still sort of banging in some good laps. There's Michael Weddell in 22 up ahead of Dominic Wheatley. Callum Dryborough is next up from Dylan O'Donnell. O'Donnell here potentially could lose the championship lead. Remember, 3 races per meeting that we have in the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. Through shot goes Johnny Dreeland. Through shot as well goes the black and green 95 of Craig Blake, the man from Carlisle. Dominic Wheatley still trying to get through and past Michael Weddell, but it is now a 4-way battle, and through into 3rd place goes Kyle Reid. Reid has reclaimed the position he had on the grid. He goes through and past Mark Geraghty. Where did Reid pull that from? He was a car or so's length behind, so possibly Geraghty made a little mistake. Going wide there, Callum Dryborough in the dark blue 30 car, and Dominic Wheatley as well. Wheatley still trying to get on terms with Michael Weddell. Well, this has been a great race so far. Super way to open our weekend. You want things relatively physical, but not damagingly so. And you want good close racing. Hannah Chapman still up ahead of John Duncan, and Hannah's managed to open up a little bit of a gap, and that's our first retirement of the weekend. Taylor Shand. Taylor is out, so the Ladies' Cup, assuming that we get a finish here for Hannah Chapman, no reason to assume we won't, will go to the way of Hannah Chapman, former newcomers champion, of course, Hannah. And there she is in the Ram Tubular's car, up ahead of Michael Weddell, the Edinburgh-based driver who has had 3 top 10 finishes so far, 1 retirement, which was in round 5. That was race 2 of our last meeting. And here we come up the hill. The race led still by Morgan Murray, Ian Munro second, Kyle Reid in third, but another retirement. Sadly, Mike Court's out of the race as well. So Mike's going to have a lot of work to do with Taylor Shand from the back of the grid in race number 2. Across the line goes Dylan O'Donnell, the championship leader, having a good dice here with Michael Weddell for 8th place. These guys, the championship leader, down in 9th position, would you believe? That is how competitive this championship is this year. The wipers tell you the story. Joe said that we might get spits and spots of rain, and I love the phrase that's the wet setting, flicking the wipers on. Dylan O'Donnell working hard to try and get past the 22 car, but Weddell looking very good at the moment, as you can see with the yellow square on the back of the car. A newcomer to racing, Callum Driver is in behind. Dominic Wheatley in that mix as well with Johnny Dreeland. So Dominic Wheatley a long way down. So I think the points here are probably going to get overhauled in this race. And I'll try and update you on the championship points after the race has been concluded. But some great racing going on all the way. Back with the leaders, and it's Morgan Murray still there. That start was absolutely crucial for Murray so far. Munro still busy challenging him. Kyle Reid in the very distinctive green and white car in third place. Mark Geraghty now has the attentions of the red 91 of Robbie Dalgleish, as well as Ian Munro again thinks about having a look at the race leader, but Munro still has that pressure from Kyle Reid. You might fancy Robbie Dalgleish for a podium here. He is closing in on the lead quartet and starting to challenge Mark Geraghty, and Munro's having a look now down the inside. Welcome back to Knockhill, the last lap of the first race of our third event of the 2017 season. Munro there in yellow has been challenging hard. He put a little challenge on into Clark before we went to break, didn't come to anything, and he is there maintaining second place at the moment. Murray looking good out front, Morgan Murray in white, then the yellow car of Ian Munro, the green and white car of Kyle Reid in third place. Mark Geraghty is fourth, follows. So look how wide they're going, they're kicking up the dirt. Hannah Chapman and John Duncan not quite going as wide, but you know what, they're closing in on the lead quintet. I don't think there is going to be enough time for them to close in and get involved in the mix. It looks like Morgan Murray has got things very much under control. What's the tactic here of Ian Munro? He goes wide, he's not under a huge amount of pressure from Kyle Reid. He thinks about having a look, but look at Robbie Dalgleish in red, just at the back of shot, challenging for fourth place. Geraghty goes off, Mark Geraghty goes wide, Robbie Dalgleish. This is going to be about momentum for him, but Murray takes the win from Munro. Reid, Dalgleish fourth, then Mark Geraghty, Hannah Chapman, John Duncan. The rest of them heading up the hill. Michael Weddell in 8th place. Here comes Michael ahead of Dylan O'Donnell, then Callum Driver ahead of Dominic Wheatley, Johnny Dreeland, Chris Blackall, Craig Blake. There's Craig in black and green. Neil Robertson, I think, heading the trio up the hill. The last 3 racers, Neil Robertson, Ross Wilkinson and Simon Holderness in red side by side up to the flag. There you go, Neil Robertson just getting the verdict there. Really good way to start the day. Murray from Munro, Reid, Dalgleish, Geraghty, Chapman, Duncan, Weddell, O'Donnell and Callum Driver in 10th, then Dominic Wheatley, Johnny Dreeland, Chris Blackall, Craig Blake, Neil Robertson, Ross Wilkinson and Simon Holden. It's non-finishes for Mike Courts and Taylor Shand.
Morgan Murray, well done. We've had to come inside at the end as the rain has come down really heavy, but towards the end of the race you were leading it. I felt really bad for you. Wipers were on, you were having to slow up, you didn't want to go too quick and make a mistake, and you had some company behind.
Yeah, the 9 laps Ian Munro was on my bumper, so it's pressure over the 9 laps, but managed to hold it off, defended, so yeah, delighted.
Yeah, we spoke before the race briefly about how it's been going really well. Race 1, race 2 has been going reasonably well, but you haven't managed to finish a race 3 yet. You've got to try to do that, obviously, at some point this weekend. But championship-wise, with the other guys having a pretty rough ride in that one, that probably puts you in the lead of the championship.
Yeah, I think it maybe does, but again, it's still a long season ahead, so maybe just keep it consistent and hopefully keep it in the lead.
Well done.
Thank you.
Ian, Mr. Inconsistent, we'll call you. Sometimes you're there and you're winning races on your day, and sometimes you're at the back, and this time it seems to be going reasonably well, scoring some points, and that's going to help you as well with the other guys at the top of the championship table having a bit of a bad day.
Yeah, well, that was a good race, but I couldn't get anywhere on Morgan. I mean, he was defending from the word go, so it was trying everywhere, but didn't want to end. Too stupid.
We're starting to see some sensible people in mini racing these days where you think it's race 1, I'm not going to do anything too mad, and you're sort of holding yourself back almost.
Yeah, maybe a wee bit, but I mean, there was a few shots where I could have really stuck it down the inside, but he didn't know I was coming, and I'm not sure if he did or not. So yeah, second's decent. It's better than no finishing like last time, so I'll take that.
Well done.
Cheers.
Kyle Reid, well done. Third place. I know you, and it's not what you wanted. You wanted to win, obviously. Not been the easiest weekend so far, though. A few wee problems.
Yeah, to be honest, I feel like I'm struggling a bit with the pace. Everyone's going really well, but I just thought I was down with power and testing there. Never got a great start. Mark got a good start. Was in behind him fourth, and then kind of fought away. Made a couple of silly mistakes, and then the guys got away. Then I caught up with them again, and then there was just carnage happening in front of me. I thought there was going to be incidents, so I kind of just sat and waited for something to happen. And then
But it did, but to you.
Yeah, it turned into hairpin. Nice clean run out. And next thing, I don't know who it was. Somebody just clattered the back quarter of the car, bent my rear axle. My wheel's sitting at an angle just now. So that next few laps is pretty sketchy coming round. But good to get a trophy again. Good for the team. And thanks to my sponsors, William Nicol, Quality Foods. And without these guys, I couldn't do it.
Well done.
Cheers.
Mark, well done. It was almost the podium that you've been looking for. We saw you on the podium, in fact, earlier in the year, but it was almost another podium. But Robbie's move at the hairpin there kind of scuppered that.
Yeah, no, I got a good start. Went side by side with Kylie down the hill. Managed to get ahead of him, gapped him. Was with Ian and Moggs, but they were kind of fighting it out and made a few wee mistakes, and Kyle got back. But it was okay. I was going for fourth. I was hoping to kind of maybe get in the main podium, but I lost at the hairpin coming out of traction, and Robbie got up the inside. So fifth, I'll take fifth into tomorrow's race.
Well done.
Cheers.
Hannah, well done. Another ladies win, but that's not what you're looking for. You want to be winning overall, which we've seen you do in the past. You started slow and you started steady, but now we're starting to get towards the front of the pack.
Yeah, it's all about, I know I keep going on about consistency, but I've had so many DNFs in my time that I'm just glad to be staying on track at the moment and just working on my pace every time I'm out there, just getting quicker and quicker. It was about this time last year that I got my first win, so I was hoping for the same again, but obviously there's 2 races left, so anything can happen. I finished 6th, which is not a bad place to be, really. So, yeah.
You can go forward from there.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm just glad I didn't hit Robbie because he had it off at Duffus and thought he was going to rejoin right into me, so I'm annoyed because I could have tried harder to get past him, but I also didn't want to risk hitting him and not finishing, so, but we'll get there.
Well done.
Thank you.
Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup race number 2, and sunny this time. No real chance of rain for the next sort of 20 minutes, so this should be safe enough in dry conditions. And on pole position is, we think, our championship leader, the number 11 car of Morgan Murray. Same result as yesterday, obviously the finishing order: Ian Munro, Kyle Reid, Robbie Dalgleish. Let's have a quick chat with Dominic Wheatley. Hasn't had the best of the weekend so far. Dom, I've just said, you're not the best of the weekend so far. You were up at the top of the championship at one point, but what's gone wrong?
This weekend hasn't gone as well as it could have. We had to reshell the car after the last race, last race crash. So there's a few niggles that we've been trying to get out, and it's meant we're a bit on the back foot. And through quali, it wasn't a great quali, and then that's fed into the first race. But hopefully, new day, I'll work my way back up, and hopefully by the last race I'm in a position to challenge at the front.
Good luck. Yeah, never the best situation when you've got a brand new car and a brand new shell. Obviously, ideally you want to do some testing to get rid of all the wee niggly bugs, but he's had to do that in qualifying in the race, which isn't ideal situation. Let's keep going. Craig Blake, we'll have a chat with Craig. I think we spoke to Craig last time, but again, first full season of mini racing. Craig, first full proper season. You had a couple of outings last year, but making some nice progress here.
Yeah, gonna try and go for top 10 this one, Joe. Qualifying was a bit rubbish yesterday, but yeah, top 10's the aim for this race, and then maybe reverse grid and see where we go from there.
It's nice, this championship, and it gives the guys in the midfield a chance to run at the front by catching that reverse grid. That's got to be your aim at the moment.
Exactly, and that's where I want to progress to be, is up that sharp end and just taking it race by race, going hopefully get there. So,
good luck.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, yeah, Craig, and like I mentioned, the reverse grid really gives these guys a chance to try to do that. We've got Hannah Chapman here. Let's go with John Duncan. Would you open that door, Mikey, and we'll get the camera in that side. And we've got John, who we've seen winning races. John, it wouldn't be unfair to call you Mr. Inconsistent at the moment. We see you right at the front, winning races, and it's just gone a little bit off the beaten track the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, that's probably a fair assessment.
Sorry, was that insulting? Sorry.
No, at all. I'd say that's pretty fair. Yesterday we made a mess of qualifying and I was a wee bit frustrated. So I had all day to sort of dwell on that, but I was happy with how the race went. The race pace is definitely there. Had a good clean race with Hannah, but I've sort of forewarned her that I'll not be quite so kind today.
Yeah, I've seen this in the mini racing. I never used to it back in the day, but we have a real sort of steady first race, and then it all seems to go to pot in this one, in the second race, as the weekend starts to go on.
Yeah, it's a weird setup this weekend as well because we're split over 2 days. But I'm just looking forward to getting stuck in. Hopefully we can get a bit higher up the grid today.
Yeah, back to the front.
Thank you very much. I'll try to.
Good luck, and with that, I'll hand it to Richard. Minis race number 2.
Thanks, Joe. And as Joe said, it is the results of race 1 that determine the grid. Morgan Murray on pole, therefore, from Ian Munro. Kyle Reid and Robbie Dalglish, row 2. Mark Geraghty and Hannah Chapman next, from John Duncan and Michael Weddell. Dylan O'Donnell with Callum Driver on row 5. 6th row, Dominic Wheatley and Johnny Dreelan. Then Chris Blackhall and Craig Blake. Neil Robertson and Ross Wilkinson, followed by Simon Holderness and Mike Courts, one of the retirees from race number 1, along with the other retiree, Taylor Shand. So Taylor and Mike with some work to do. See the 75 car of Mike Courts there, just to the left in shot of the ambulance. Lighting sequence underway. Very clear, you can see on the bridge, on the start line as well, so the drivers have no excuse for not missing the start. It's a very good start. We're going to see a front row outside advantage once again. Dylan O'Donnell side by side with Callum Driver. But once again, it's Morgan Murray, so it's Morgan who's the good starter. There's no preference. Oh, and tagged Robbie Dalglish. He's tagged Hannah Chapman involved as well, as they went down Duffus for the first time. So Dalglish, here's the view from Hannah Chapman's car. Hannah looking down the inside. Robbie moves across. Probably racing instant. Hannah down the escape road, or just off the escape road, and back on track, and rejoins with Mark Geraghty. The top 3 are away, but with goodness me, with Robbie Dalglish out of the equation. That's one of the drivers who are expecting to do well. Robbie is there, but down towards the back of the grid, so he has got work to do. Morgan Murray, perfect start though. So really, this is where the race format really counts. The race result in race 1 sets the grid for race 2, and it's a resumption of the battle that we had in the previous race with Murray from Munro and Reid. Sadly, of course, Dalglish is out of it. Hannah Chapman looking very brave on the outside line of Dylan O'Donnell and trying now to hunt down John Duncan. Wide moment there for Ross Wilkinson. Taylor Shand at the back of the field. Mike Courts is making a bit of progress already. Looking up the inside line, I can tell you that Moggs Murray took the championship lead by my maths. He's on 101 points. Robbie Dalglish on 95. So with Robbie potentially out of the points in this one, it means that this is a big opportunity. If Moggs can grab the double, he will extend the championship lead big time here. So this is a great weekend. But we need to come back to that all-important third race that Joe was talking about with Morgan Murray. Needs to get the consistency in the third race of the day. And if he has 2 wins, of course, he'll be dropped back a few positions in the partially reversed start for race 3. And he's going to have to just make up as many positions as he can in that race and get a decent score. There's Dylan O'Donnell. O'Donnell on 91 points now. I reckon 3rd in the championship after race 1. Scored a modest 7 points in that first race. Down the inside goes Craig Blake, heading up towards his target of top 10. I wonder if he'll be able to do that. He's got some what looks like formation running with the 4 blue machines right behind him. And just going out of shot now, Simon Holden. It's in 52. Welcome back to Knockhill. 3 wide as they go up the hill. On the inside line is Michael Weddell in 22. Mark Geraghty there in the blue 67. The 24 car of John Duncan immediately ahead of us. We're on board with Hannah Chapman, who goes down the outside line. This could be... Hold on to your... Bang! I was going to say hold on to your hats. And off go Mark Geraghty and Hannah Chapman. That's not what Hannah ordered, not what Mark Geraghty ordered as well. He spent a little bit of time off track today. Had a good result in race number 1 with 5th, but it's not going to be a 5th here. They rejoin. Callum Driver looking up the inside line. Then Craig Blake heading up towards the top 10. You heard him teeing that up with Joe earlier on, so he's trying his best to get there. How much momentum has Hannah Chapman lost is the question. So top 2 go out of shot. There's Kyle Reid in white and green. He is 3rd. 4th place John Duncan. 5th position now Michael Weddell. Behind those 2, Dylan O'Donnell in the 2nd black and yellow car. And following Dylan O'Donnell is Dominic Wheatley. So O'Donnell and Wheatley there, a little way back. And those two were first and second in the championship coming into this event, not having things their own way here. There's Callum Dryber going through, followed by Mike Courts. And Mike Courts has come up into the top 10 from the back of the grid. Super drive from Michael. I think he's really making it count. Could be on for a decent result here if the reverse grid falls the right way. So too could this man, Michael Weddell, 5th at the moment. Had a really good sequence of results this year, the newcomer. 11th in the first race of the season, then 13th, and then a retirement in round 5, but that was sandwiched by 3 9th places coming into this meeting, and he was 8th in race number 1, and he's going to be higher up here if he keeps it on track. He's really piling the pressure at the moment on John Duncan. They both go wide, but Michael Weddell could be in the territory where he gets pole position or very near the front in the reverse grid race. Having a look at the outside line here, Duncan holds on to position at the moment. The Stonehaven man hasn't been outside the top 10 all season so far. Admittedly, we've only had 7 races so far, but Duncan's been very consistent indeed, and that's what you have to be. Hannah Chapman said that in her interview with Joe. Back with the race lead, and Monroe is piling the pressure here on Morgan Murray. Look how close they get. This is the last lap, and it's the last chance for Monroe to grab a win. There's a little bit of a tiny mistake, I think, there from Morgan Murray, but he recovers from that, and Ian Monroe can't quite get through. Monroe, in actual fact, loses a bit of ground. There's Kyle Reid in 3rd place. It's going to be another podium for Reid. He's going to maintain a 100% record on the podium. Here they come up through Clark Corner. There is Reid. Look at the battle for 4th place in behind, if we get to see it. Well, we're not going to until we, I think, catch up with the drivers as they come through the hairpin for the last time. And it looks like Murray is going to secure a double here. Morgan Murray is going to take a double win. Ian Monroe won't be too dissatisfied, I think, with 2 second positions. Here's the checker. So it is Murray, Monroe. Kyle Reid takes 3rd place. Here's the run up towards the flag, and we've got a gaggle of cars headed by Mike Weddell. It's another best for him. He's 4th. Then John Duncan. Dylan O'Donnell followed by Dominic Wheatley. Those two had a late run. Callum Dryber here in 8th. Mike Courts very nearly beats him, but takes 9th place. Super drive from the back of the field. Craig Blake is next. He did make the top 10 from Neil Robertson and Taylor Shand. Simon Holderness went across the line next. The racers still coming across the line. What a great second race that was. And here's the result. It's Murray from Monroe and Reeds, Michael Weddell, then John Duncan, Dylan O'Donnell, Dominic Wheatley, Callum Dryber, Mike Courts and Craig Blake, both up into the top 10. Neil Robertson next from Taylor Shand and Simon Holderness, Ross Wilkinson from Johnny Dreelan and Hannah Chapman. Non-finishes for point scorers, good point scorers in race 1, Mark Geraghty, Robbie Dalgleish and Chris Blackhall.
Morgan Murray, well done. Consistent, winning races, starting to look like that championship winner already.
Yeah.
Jinxed.
I don't know about that, but it's so close. As you see, first race there, Ian just on my bumper again. Last 3-4 laps there, he was on my bumper again. So it is just so close. But yeah, delighted to be in the podium and especially in the first place.
What's the thoughts for the reverse grid? Obviously, so far it hasn't gone well this year. We just need to get some points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to try and keep it consistent and hopefully stays in the black and just try and get up there on the points. And yeah, so
well done.
Thank you.
Ian, well done. A late challenge for the lead there. It seemed to be all over, but all of a sudden you found something. You were right on him.
Yeah, well, he was pulling away from the start, and I was like, right, don't make any mistakes. I think I was being a wee bit too cautious, so about halfway through I started being a wee bit braver over a few of the corners. It just made that wee difference to pull him in again.
What could you need to start making some in-grabs. I know points make prizes, but he's consistently winning now, so we need to make a change.
Well, I need to beat him.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, I know. Well, that last one, I was like, glass up will be coming out soon, so I'm going to have an attempt somewhere. Didn't quite come off, so I'll try something, but yeah, wasn't quite enough, so I don't know, keep trying harder.
Good luck in race 3.
Alright, cheers.
Kyle, well done, 3rd place. It's a fake smile because you're like the rest of these guys, you want to be winning. It doesn't look the easiest thing to drive out there. There's a massive gap, and I'm going to stick my neck out and say that was quite a boring mini race, and I'll give Morgan a hard time about that in a minute as well.
Yeah, it probably was quite boring. It was boring from where I was from anyway. I really struggled there. The front 2 cars kind of just drove away from me. Moggs kind of got a wee gap on Ian, and then towards the end of the race I seen Ian make a couple of challenges, but if I was closer I might be able to do something about it, but I just couldn't look at any of them. They just drove away. They both drove a great race.
Go and have a look at the car.
Yeah, I need to do something.
Michael, well done. First mini podium. It's a newcomer's one, but a great drive. You were pretty much fighting for the overall podium. It was the 4th or 5th place I saw you battling. It's a great result for someone who's just come into this championship. It's really tough.
I mean, Mini Max have done a great job. Mainly, they've had to reshell the car a week ago. Got onto it, got the car started. Had a few problems yesterday, but I mean, they started it overnight. 8th to 4th from the first lap, pretty good start as well, so I was pretty happy with how that went. So yeah.
You're right in the mix now with the reverse grid as well. We've got a really good opportunity this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm just going to try, a good day so far, so try and take it from there and see where I can go.
Well done.
Cheers.
And our Ladies' Cup winner, a disastrous day yesterday. I saw pictures on Facebook of your car flying through the air and the wheel hanging off, so obviously a lot of work to do to fix that, but a great drive to make up for it through to 13th.
I think it was 12th.
12th?
I don't know, maybe I'm just lying there, but yeah, after yesterday I knew I had so many places to fight for, and I went out and it's probably the most focused I've been, knowing that I had so much to fight for. And I managed to do it. I avoided a lot of contact that was going on. I think that kind of stood in my favour, and yeah, it's great to be back winning, getting a ladies' trophy again this year. So
well done. You're getting closer and closer to that reverse grid.
yeah, well, I think 12th is probably one of my highest that I've ever finished, so I came away with that. So we'll see what happens in the next race.
Well done.
Thank you.
Minis race number 3 is ready to go. This is the reverse grid race, the one that always gives us the fireworks, and it's Dylan O'Donnell on pole position. He's had a bit of a rough run so far this weekend. Doors open that side for you, Kim, and I'll jump in and see if I can squeeze in here. Dylan, you're quite short, aren't you? Seat's quite far forward. Pole position, you've been in this position before. You've already won your first race. This is a really good opportunity to turn an average weekend into a really good one.
Yeah, I'm just going to try and keep focused and keep everybody behind me.
Nice and dry, it's not going to rain, should be easy.
Yeah, hopefully, but you know it's minis, so anything could happen.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Right, let's move a little further back. Next up, again, John Duncan. We spoke to him as well. John, we spoke to you. I was a little bit rude, I felt, earlier on there, but this is looking good. Now you can win from here.
Yeah, this is just because you wound me up earlier, Joe.
Yes,
so
you proved me wrong.
Put myself in a position to get a good reverse grid in the last race. It was a good race. Looking forward to this. I've raced with these guys before and I know I can beat them on the day, so that's what I'm going to try and do.
Make it exciting.
I will do, thank you.
One more. Again, a face we're becoming more familiar with. Michael Weddell in the 22 car, a newcomer to this championship, an indoor karter. This is looking good. We've spoken already about this car, but hey, second row of the grid.
Yeah, it's looking quite promising. I was quite happy when they pulled out 6 out the bag, so second row there, so it's quite going to be an interesting race. Take it easy for the first few laps, I think, and see where it leads on from there.
Right then.
Yeah, these things never going to plan anyway, so it'll be straight to it, straight away, so we'll see what happens really.
Good luck.
Cheers.
He's been really, really impressive, doing really, really well. And I want to speak to Kyle Reid. We spoke to Kyle after the first 2 races. He said he was struggling with power. He's now changed the engine between race 2 and race 3. Kyle, new engine in the car. We all knew it was down on power. It didn't sound right. You had to look at it. The compressions were massively down, and you've managed to get a new engine in the car.
Yeah. I was struggling this over the weekend on pace and testing. I didn't think I was going too well. And then race 1 and race 2, the guys just seemed to drive away from me. I didn't seem to make too many silly mistakes, and so I've got a new engine in here.
Where'd you get the engine?
ALM Motorsport. I'd just like to thank the guys, Andy ALM, for the engine. It's really good until I met.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And with that, I will hand it to Richard for the final time today. Here come the minis.
Thanks very much, Joe. Dylan O'Donnell on pole position with John Duncan alongside Michael Weddell, next from Kyle Reid, then Ian Munro and Morgan Murray. That's the reverse part of the grid. Dominic Wheatley and Callum Dryber from Mike Courts and Craig Blake, then Neil Robertson and Taylor Shand, Simon Holderness and Ross Wilkinson ahead of Johnny Dreelan and Hannah Chapman. Mark Geraghty back on row 9 with Robbie Dalgleish. Chris Blackhall completing the grid. Murray leads the championship now, 126 points ahead of 105 Ian Munro. Dylan O'Donnell on 101, Dominic Wheatley on 96. Those two scoring a little bit better in race 2. Lights are out and John Duncan makes the better start from the outside of the front row. Kyle Reid being challenged by Michael Weddell. Michael getting up towards that outright podium. Good to see him take the newcomers win in race number 1. He's outperformed Kyle Reid off the start. Reid not having the best of starts this weekend. So Weddell goes up into 3rd place, chasing Dylan O'Donnell. Then it's Ian Munro. Morgan Murray next up from Dominic Wheatley. Sideways moment there for the 91 car of Robbie Dalgleish. So Dalgleish is going to find himself, he made a bit of progress off the start, but has a little bit of a wobble. Here's Hannah Chapman, who finished in 16th position in race number 1. Looking at the back end of Ross Wilkinson, who finished 14th. That's not going to help Hannah's cause. She's really got to get stuck in now to gain some points. There's going to be no taking it easy here. And Hannah's going to tee up a look down the inside line, coming into the hairpin. There's Hannah in the Ram car with Robbie Dalgleish immediately behind, and they both make the move and get the job done through on the inside of Ross Wilkinson. Immediately behind them, the red 52 of Simon Holderness, but out front, still leading, it's the 24 of John Duncan from Dylan O'Donnell. Michael Weddell still there. Kyle Reid's now dropped back behind Ian Munro, so a good opportunity as Reid goes off on the grass, brings it back on track, doesn't lose either places really or too much momentum over the championship leader who's there immediately behind him. So Reid with his replacement engine here, hoping to get a better result. He's not been off the podium so far this year, and we'll have more for you after the break. Welcome back to our third and final race. I've got to say that the start was a very good, orderly start, and Mike Weddell's looking up the inside line to challenge for second place and passes Dylan O'Donnell. Weddell up into second. This is great stuff. Not only on a potential podium, but very nearly up into second. He gets physical again, going into the hairpin, and Weddell makes it stick. Incredible move from the newcomer up into second place. It's John Duncan leading, Mike Weddell in second, and he's got the whiff of a win in his nostrils here. Incredible stuff. He moves clear. He's got Ian Munro immediately behind him now, so Munro snuck up ahead of Dylan O'Donnell. Kyle Reid still in the mix as well in the 20 car. Remember, we've got some big hitters looking to try and come through. Oh, talking of hits, Michael Weddell gets barged off there by Ian Munro. Contact between the two. Weddell, well, he knows he's joined the championship. This is like race 3s of old for sure. Down the order, Chris Blackhall and Simon Holderness really getting involved in the mix, and out front it's very physical for the race lead. John Duncan from Ian Munro. Munro wants to get a win here, hasn't had one so far this year. Best he's had is a trio of second places. He looks to the outside line, diving up into third place is Kyle Reid. Dylan O'Donnell on the outside. Morgan Murray poised there in the 11 car with Dominic Wheatley now up with the top group. So Wheatley up with the Premier League boys here, if we can call them that, up at the sharp end of things in this race. Michael Weddell is still going. He rejoined. It is always about how you recover from any moments where you go off under your own steam or maybe get muscled off. And talking about getting muscled off, Kyle Reid sideways but collects it up. So too was Morgan Murray. Hopes of a hat-trick for Morgan Murray, I think, probably disappearing with the cars in front of him who are getting away down the road. Weddell's still there. Mike Courts is coming up and joining in the mix now. That immaculate car. Here's the view from Weddell. Runs a little bit wide. He's going to be learning so much from starting on row 2. Dominic Wheatley, remember, the man in front of him was second in the championship. Coming into this meeting, he's reclaimed 4th position on 96 points by my maths. Championship positions, Murray, Munro, O'Donnell. It's a good, healthy lead, 21-point lead for Moggs Murray at the moment. And if he finishes this race, he'll likely hold on to that lead as we head towards our next meeting, which is at Rockingham. I think a first ever visit to Rockingham for the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup. That's going to be one mega weekend for them to go on that circuit. It's a great venue, terrific circuit. But here we come with the battle for the lead coming down the straight. Duncan's still there, side by side. Munro with Dylan O'Donnell. Kyle Reid is in behind as well. It's still getting physical. Reid's got his nose up the inside line, and O'Donnell here wants to try and hang on to it, but Reid's going to come through. Morgan Murray is coming. Where's Murray's caught up back with the leaders again and muscles his way through past the 33 car, and he's going to try and get into 23, and he tags Ian Munro, and Munro's off in the gravel. Ian Munro's out of the race. The man who was second in the championship, when is his luck going to change this year? And there's contact again. And, well, I said the race was over for Moggs Murray. He's got up to second. There was contact with Kyle Reid. Murray's up to second. Dylan O'Donnell third. Kyle Reid is dropping back. The group we're looking at, all disputing second place at the moment. The race leader is still John Duncan. Moggs Murray second, then Dylan O'Donnell. Wide line from Michael Weddell's come back into it, but now goes off. So that's Michael Weddell back down the order again, but he's a real fighter. And from the back of the grid on lap number 1, the 91 car of Robbie Dalgleish. There's Mike Courts coming through as well. Courts didn't finish race number 1, started at the back, in race 2, and he's worked his way calmly up the order. Kyle Reid's coming through as well. Was that a tap on the back? Can't really see from that angle, but it was close quarters. Weddell down the inside line. This is a bruising encounter, and like the Celtic Speed Scottish Mini Cooper Cup of the days when we had Vic Covey Jr. racing with Joe Tanner, probably Jordan Gronkowski wide, car still going off and wide, and Kenny Thirlwall, of course, David Slay back in the day. We've had some terrific names coming through this championship over the years, which has entertained everybody here at Knockhill and of course on Motors TV over the years. It's still a great championship. And Michael Weddell, well, started on row 2. There he is in the 22 car, side by side, not quite side by side, tucks in front of Mike Courts, who's come through from the back. There are so many stories about who's made progress in this meeting, and up ahead of them all, the red car, and problems. It looks like Dom Wheatley's got a problem. Dominic Wheatley, 4th in the championship. That's going to drop Dominic down the order in the championship. More Hannah Chapman making good progress. Callum Driver immediately in front. Taylor Shand there as well. So this potentially the battle for the ladies' championship. Taylor Shand in the 96, chased by Hannah Chapman. Hannah, of course, wants the overall wins, but first she's got to be the leading lady in this race. She's chasing Taylor Shand at the moment, and I think it was Taylor's best result in the previous race. Hannah Chapman, this is going to build her confidence, really, trying to work her way through the field. And if she was feeling a little bit worried about making progress earlier on and maybe going for moves, I think in race 1 maybe you do have to temper things a little bit, but you can have a little bit more of a go in race number 3 because the car's going to go back to base and get refettered. There's Mike Courts, who's come through, as we said, from the back of the grid in race number 2. Made a real good steady climb up the order into 9th place at the finish. Craig Blake, a few cars behind him as well, who was up in the top 10 in race number 2 as well. That target he set himself, and now Morgan Murray's going for the lead. I'd written Morgan Murray off, but he's up and challenging for the lead now and has gone through. Murray's on for a hat-trick. He passes John Duncan going down into Duffus. Murray leads, but we've had so much action in this race, I dare say it's not over yet. Look, here comes Duncan, very close. Coming up as well is Dylan O'Donnell. O'Donnell looks up the inside line, rides the curbs. Duncan's on the outside. O'Donnell's back through into 2nd. Duncan down to 3rd. Mark Geraghty coming up now as well. Geraghty in blue. Remember, he was off the circuit wide with Hannah Chapman in race 2. So these guys have all made their way back through. Morgan Murray's checking out now. Surely Morgan Murray's going to grab a hat-trick here. Murray's away, but it's a 4-way scrap for 2nd place. And Robbie Dalgleish, who's pretty much last or 2nd last on the opening lap, is dicing for 2nd place now, and he's on the inside in red. John Duncan still 2nd at the moment. Up into 3rd goes Dalgleish, then O'Donnell. Geraghty in the mix as well. Michael Weddell in 22 is in behind them. Then Mike Courts, Taylor Shand, who's on for her another best finish here for Taylor Shand, who's still up ahead of Hannah Chapman at the moment. You need eyes absolutely everywhere. So John Duncan 2nd, Robbie Dalgleish is 3rd. They go down Duffus and through Leslie's into Scotsman for the last time. Mark Geraghty dives down the inside line. Geraghty, and running wide there is the 33 of Dylan O'Donnell. Michael Weddell's trying to come up through on the inside line. Look at the bruised nature of the cars here. A couple of them going wide again. Morgan Murray is away and in the lead. Robbie Dalgleish is 2nd. Look at the clear lead he's got. There's Dalgleish in 2nd place. John Duncan still there in 3rd, but it's Morgan Murray who's going to take a win. Fastest lap in this one as well. Ian Munro incidentally got fastest lap in race number 2. But here comes Murray, who is going to have a very big championship lead. Look at the battle that's going on into the hairpin for 3rd place. And the 24 car, John Duncan, tangled up with Dylan O'Donnell. So it's Munro that takes it. Robbie Dalgleish is going to be 2nd. And 3rd place, Michael Weddell. 4th is Michael Courts. Then Mark Geraghty, Dylan O'Donnell, John Duncan, Hannah Chapman. Taylor Shand gets the first top 10. Then Callum Driver. What a way to finish the day. That was a very physical race. I'm sure words will be had. Murray from Dalgleish and Weddell, maiden podium for him. Mike Courts 4th from Mark Geraghty, Dylan O'Donnell, John Duncan, Hannah Chapman in 8th from Taylor Shand. Callum Driver in 10th, then Craig Blake, Johnny Dreelan next from Ross Wilkinson, Simon Holderness, Neil Robertson and Chris Blackhall completing the finishers, and it means that Morgan Murray leads the championship on 151 points from Robbie Dalgleish.
Hannah, well done getting stuck in. You had a disaster in race 2, which I could see how angry you were when you had the puncture, but you recovered nicely.
Yeah, I was just a passenger in race 2. It was really unfortunate what happened, and I ended up worse off from the incident. So ended up with a puncture, had to come back in, and I was not happy. But I like starting from the back. I like the challenge of fighting my way through the pack, and it's quite hard. It's not easy getting through the pack because everyone's just so erratic. So staying out of trouble is really difficult. But
I can see some marks on your car.
there are a few. Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
Michael, Weddell, well done. Third place. We've spoken a lot today, actually. We've had the reshelled car, we've had a great result, a newcomers win, and now we've had an overall podium. It was carnage, but you drove great, you were thinking about it, you stayed out of trouble. Really, really good result.
Yeah, like you said, that race was complete and utter carnage. I think 1 point fell down to like 8th or something, and again, carnage in front just allowed me to pip at the opportunity around the last corner as well, so happy with that.
Classic third mini race.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well done.
Cheers.
Robbie Dalgleish, driver of the race there. I didn't notice where you'd started, but someone told me halfway through the race you were coming from the second last position all the way up to second. That was amazing.
Yeah, last row on the grid, so just got a good start, went outside, no crashes, and then just started picking them up one by one. Everything just seemed to go my way, drivers run wide, I just nipped them, I wasn't losing time on the overtakes. Coming from last, it's such a short race, you never expect to get near second,
The win would have been special, but I think Morgan had that under control.
Yeah, I was never catching him. He drove a good race. Kept it clean at the front and got away, which is what you need to do. So well done to him for getting the free wins this weekend.
Well done. It's been a long time since I've seen anybody on the podium from the back, let alone second. So well done.
Yeah, cheers. That feels better than the win from last week anyway.
Well done.
Cheers.
Morgan Murray, well done. 3 out of 3. I've been winding you up this weekend about having bad race 3s, but you shut me up. 3 out of 3.
Yeah, it's incredible for me and the team. Massive thanks to JRC, Jason and Bob. Big thanks to my dad. He's been paying my tyres this weekend, which is
unusual.
A great effort from him. Big thanks to my brother as well for helping me out, and absolutely couldn't do it without them. So the car's absolutely going well in that last race. Superb.
Championship wise, obviously it doesn't get any better than that to win all 3 of them, but there must be, because of who's been finishing around you. Robbie there has a bad weekend and he comes and takes points away from everybody else. Kyle, who's not in it full time, is taking points away, so you must have stretched away at the top of the table.
Yeah, I hope so, because last race wasn't so great. I think I was in 4th in the championship, so I've hopefully stretched away from the rest, but here's hoping it stays that way. But yeah, try again next race at Rockingham.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And with that, it brings the minis to a close from this weekend. But as Morgan just mentioned, next round is Rockingham for their away round. Make sure you tune in for more fireworks.